Okay, so I'm going to make this just a very short chain. Here's my main color and here's my changing color. So I'm just going to make this a little smaller. I'm going to make it a chain of about 20. Hi everyone, welcome to my living room. Okay, so I got a question for you. How many of you don't like crocheting with homespun yarn? Or any kind of yarn that is anything like homespun? Or some might call it hellspun. For those of you who don't know what this yarn is, this is a red homespun yarn, and looks like that. You know, it's a pretty yarn. It's I don't think it's, maybe it comes in better if my eyes aren't there. But anyway, you know what I mean. This kind of fluffy yarn. This particular one is Lion Brand. I know that a lot of people have a hard time using it because it'll kind of snag and everything while you're using it. Well, I've got, well, my solution to that is to use a big hook. And I usually use, with homespun, just the regular homespun, I like to use a size L hook, which is a 7mm hook, because it just seems like it works through the yarn better that way. And I'll show you what I mean. I don't know how this is going to look right here. Here, let me get my eyes out. Maybe if I get my eyes out. Here, I'll go this way. No. If I get my eyes out of the screen, I think it'll, I might have to do it kind of, yeah, I'm going to have to do it. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of a weird view, and then I'll just go, yeah, that's kind of a weird view. But anyway, I'll do a tutorial. I'll do a tutorial look down view on it in just a minute. The point is that bigger hooks work better with a homespun because it makes the stitches looser, which enables, at least it enables me to pull the yarn through easier. Now I've one-upped it. I'm gonna have to do a tutorial view on this too. I just finished today a huge Afghan made out of, it's, of course, it's a Scraptastic. I use various kinds of mainly homespun yarn, but I did use a couple of ice yarn. You know, I forget what those are called. Fun yarns or novelty yarns. And I really love the way this turned out. You know, with blankets, it's kind of hard to do a whole tutorial. So what I'm going to do in just a second is show you how I made it. I used my handy dandy furls. You can use any brand of hook you'd like. I just use this because I like it a lot. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy sent these hooks to me. This is a 9mm. Whoops, this particular size is N, and I used this for the main color all the way through. This is Plymouth Yarn Encore Chunky. I love this yarn. You can use any kind of yarn. You can use a 5-weight, you can use a 4-weight, you can use whatever weight you want. I usually, when I do my Scraptastics, or Scraptastic Afghans or blankets, I use a 4 or a 5 to continue, a 4-weight or a 5-weight, continuously all the way through, and normally just one color. This is 75% acrylic, 25% wool. It says you can machine wash, gentle, tumble, dry, low. This has approximately 13 yards, and I believe I used what's 100 divided by 7, or 100 divided by 6.5. Let me find my calculator. 100 divided by 6.5 is, let's find the calculator. Oh, for the love of God, here we go. Okay, let's say 100, oops, 100 divided by 6.5 equals, okay, so we used 16 skeins of this. 16 skeins of 143 yards is, times 143 equals
2,000 years later.
2,200 yards of this. This is what I used. So if you're, whatever you're going to get for your solid thread all the way through, you're going to want to get at least 2,000 yards. Now this was for a 5-weight. I'm not exactly sure what it would be on a 4-weight. I don't know. Oh, that means I'm just going to have to make another one. It's so weird because a lot of times when I'm crocheting stuff, I don't keep track of yardage, especially when I'm doing Scrapghans. I just kind of go with whatever I've got. And I just say, oh, I've got a ton of that color of yarn. I think I'll use that for the solid one. So anyway, 5-weight yarn for this blanket. The measurements for this blanket are 5 feet by 6 feet, pretty much exactly. So it's 5 feet across, 6 feet long. And I have no idea how much homespun. I'm thinking it's probably similar to the amount of yarn for this, but like I was telling you before, it's a Scrapghan, so I just basically use scraps of like homespun yarns that I have. And this part right here, see how the way I get it to look so uniform is, one, I use one strand all the way through, and this, on this particular Scrapghan, I use 2 strands, this color all the way through, and this color, or you know, I change colors. I make sure to do at most 2 rows. See, each of these colors is 2 rows. At most to do 2 colors. Sometimes it can't be helped. Like right here on the end here. Oops, I don't know. See, I didn't want to, when I got to this very last row, I didn't want to change it and just have like one more color for the rest of this. So I kept that one going. It looks okay. It's fine. It's at the end. It's very easy to make these. Just get a pile of yarn and a hook, and there you go. So let me show you exactly how I did this. Okay, so I'm going to make this just a very short chain. Here's my main color, and here's my changing color. So I'm just going to make this a little smaller. I'm going to make it a chain of about 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, and then to start the ooh, I don't know what happened there, but that looks interesting. Okay, so when you go back down, now I don't think I mentioned it before, every single stitch in this blanket is half double crochet. So sometimes it can be hard to see where the different stitches are, especially when you're using two threads and one is homespun, but these are pretty easy to tell. Okay, so wrap around, go through the second chain from the hook, which is this one right here, half double crochet in that first one, and then half double crochet in every chain across. I'll go really slow. With this huge hook, my homespun does not snag at all. It doesn't snag on the hook. The stitches are nice and loose, so there's no there's just no frustration. This is very easy to use. I know that homespun can be very frustrating to use at times, but this is like seriously no frustration at all. The hook just slides and pulls right through. Just slides and pulls right through. This I believe is the most relaxing way I have ever found to use homespun yarn. I thought it was really good when I first started using a 7mm hook and just the homespun, but something about pairing it with this other yarn makes it even easier. And I have also found when using homespun yarn, you want to keep a very loose tension. Or, as loose as you comfortably possibly can, if that makes sense. Okay, so since I chained 20 across, there should be 19 stitches. And that's one thing that I found is important to do, is periodically, or if you think about it throughout the length of your blanket, count the rows or count the stitches across, just to make sure you're not coming up short or maybe going over. Yeah, that's what that looks like. So say I'm I'm just using the scrap yarns here. Okay, when you get to the end of this row, chain one and turn. And then I'm not going to want to go over 2 rows of this red. So what I'm going to do, if you go over a few stitches, that's okay. It just depends on what you want your blanket to look like. But I've found that it looks more uniform when you just kind of do approximately 2 rows for each color. And then of course, that doesn't mean just those 2 rows of that color for the whole blanket. You can come back to that color blanket, you know, if you have a pretty good hunk size of yarn, but just not together. But they don't have to be in any planned out order because one, they're scraps. You don't know what you're going to have. And for two, I mean, since it's a Scrapghan, it doesn't have to be planned out. Okay, so say this is the end of my red yarn, or I just want to end it right here. And we'll pretend like this is 150 across. That's what I usually make my Scrapghans, is 150 stitches across. So now it's time to add another yarn. I'm going to cut this with my handy dandy scissors, and I'm going to make a magic knot. How do you make a magic knot, you may be asking? Okay. You get your 2 pieces of yarn. You're going to tie the red one around the blue one, and then not on the side of the yarn that is the cut side, but on this side of the yarn, you're going to tie the blue around the red. There's a reason why they call this the magic knot. Okay. So you pull those 2. Hope you can see this okay. Pull this 2 together. They should just slide right down, but this is kind of bumpy yarn, so I'm having to kind of coax it a little. There. And you pull from both sides, pull from that side, and this knot will not come untied. It's crazy. It's magic. And then you just cut it right there next to the knot. That baby's stuck there. Okay, so now you're half crocheting along. You know that little knot? It's just a little knot, so it's not going to bother anybody. This particular yarn is out of one of the mixed lots that I got from Ice Yarn. And I only got like 3 or 4 of the balls of this, so there really wasn't enough to make anything else out of it. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I would want to make anything else out of it because, I mean, it's just not a yarn I would choose to do anything with. But when you put it in this blanket, it sure does look pretty. Oops. And then you chain up. So you have that. And you start across again. I have so much fun making these Scraptastic blankets, and it is the best way I have found to just plow through yarn stash. I mean, you know what I mean. You've been collecting yarn all year. You need to make some. You went to the Hobby Lobby 70% off sale. You know what I'm talking about. Or whatever sales, or you've just been collecting for years and you've got tons of yarn that you want to use, but you have no idea what you're going to use it for. Make a beautiful Scraptastic blanket. See, look how nice that's looking. Like normally you would not pair these 2 yarns together, but when you tie it in together with that yarn, it looks nice. And you can kind of see from the, my blanket right there, how it looks. Like those yarns all together would look goofy. But since I have paired it with another yarn all the way through, just ties it together, makes it look pretty. Okay. Oops, sometimes you lose a yarn, or sometimes you lose one of the strands and you have to go back and get it. That's okay. All right, now when I, oops, a little piece of yarn kind of went up with that one. All right, at the end of every row, you're going to chain one. Now, see how this much has two strands? This has one strand. I'm gonna stop this one, you know, maybe somewhere around here. And it's not as noticeable. For one, when you're using homespun, it's not hugely noticeable, but when you've got a wider blanket going across, where you change the yarns, where you change the yarn colors isn't quite as noticeable because it's such a huge blanket. Whoops. Drop my other yarn. Oops. My hand's bouncing all over the place. I think my video is about to stop, so I'll stop that for just a sec. And there's really no hard and fast rule to where you're going to change your yarn. You can make it however many rows you want. Like if you want to make your colors change every 3 rows, that's fine. If you just want to make it change every 1 row, that's fine. Or every 4 rows. Or if you just want to make them all crazy, that's fine too. Okay, I'm going to change the color. This one's a little bit thinner. That's okay. It's a Scraptastic blanket. So it's not going to be too wonky if this one's a little thinner. This is another one of my ice yarns that was in one of those mixed lots. I love the ice yarns mixed lots. And of course, everything that I'm working with, all yarns mentioned, have affiliate links down in the description below. If you see something that you'd like and you just can't live without it, I would appreciate you using my affiliate link, because without spending any extra, that helps support my channel and it means so very much to me. Plus you can send me pictures of all of your wonderful yarn that you get. And I'll drool and I'll be happy for you. Oops, that one was a little weird. So we're going to change colors again. This is going to the orange. See these yarns, these colors, and you think of them together in the real world, and you're like, I don't know. But there. That is the basics of making this Scraptastic blanket. 150 stitches across, half double crochet, 2 strands of 5-weight yarn, and a 9mm hook. And that's it, and some scissors, and a magic knot, and half double crochet. Did I mention that? Okay. Well, happy crocheting on your Scraptastic blankets, everyone. I'm going to turn this around. Okay, guys, I hope I was able to do some justice to the Scraptastic blanket. I'm going to call this one the Homespun Scraptastic Blanket. That's what this one is going to be called, because it has a different feel to the other ones, because it's so thick and it's got all the homespun yarns in it. It's really thick and squishy. I don't know if you can see that here. Can you see the squish? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't trans well that late in video, that well in video. That's okay. Oh, also, I still have my Christmas tree up. I can't bear to take it down. I love my Christmas tree. You know, life is short. I'll take it down sometime, but just not yet. And today is January 26th, 2022. Okay, you guys, I hope you are having an absolutely wonderful day, and let me know if you have any questions about this blanket in the comments below, and I will get them answered. I'll try, and I will write out the basics of this blanket down in the description too, so maybe if you have any questions, you can just look at that too. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful, super duper happy day. If you haven't yet, please give the like button a big squishy hug. And I will see you later, alligators. Mwah. Bye. But it comes in other brands, yarn brands, styles. I don't know what it's called, in their styles. Anyway, okay, first of all, I'll show you what I used. And where is the calculator? Oh, no, this one has one here. Oh my god, okay. Calculator.